Morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. We have a lot of things we're going to do today. I know I'm going early, or basically I gave you like 15 minutes that I was going early. So those of you watching the replay, thanks for watching the replay. Those are here live, and thanks for being here live. It's 11:30 my time in Durham, North Carolina on CSA Saturday. CSA means Community Supported Agriculture. What that means is I bought basically like a subscription to a farm, and every Saturday they just leave some stuff on my doorstep, and it's exciting, delicious, fun, and I'm showing you what it is. Good morning, Ashley. And I got a real late start today, so I thought there are a bunch of things that are going to go on today. One is we're going to do a giveaway, and I'll let everybody kind of get in before I talk about that. And I thought I'd just make my coffee that I've been making, because why not, right? This is just chat. Last week we chatted about some British TV shows, and I am always up for a suggestion for that. Or any other cool things. We just watched a silly show on Netflix that just came on that has Melissa McCarthy in it, and it was pretty fun. So I talk about my cold brew a lot. So this is my cold brew. Hey, Kimmy. It's awesome to have you here this morning, as well as everybody else to say hi. It's pretty sunny, but it is not blaringly hot today, which is a big bonus. Yesterday, like last night, the wind was blowing, and I really thought the world was going to end almost. It was like, I've not seen the wind blow quite like this, so we moved everything around, and so it's really nice to have just a nice, pretty day. Good morning, Elizabeth. Get you up here too. Okay, so some of you have seen me make this and some of you haven't, but I need a little coffee. So basically what I'm doing is I've got this really inexpensive frother. This is the Ray Dunn edition, so it tells you what it is, but you can get these inexpensively a lot of places. I've got some, this is my favorite frothy milk, Califia Oat Barista. I do want to let you know it does have some oil in it. So there are other things that do also froth, and we can talk about that. But this is my weekend coffee, so I'm okay with it. And I'm going to put probably about a whole cup of this in here. And you could put less. I like my coffee very milky. It's about 130 calories for this and 7 grams of fat, which is, if you don't do fat, is a lot of fat. Okay. And let's see what we got here. I'm going to say hey to some more people. Oh, Gina's here. Yay, we've missed you. And CJ from a cool and breezy Scotland. I like that. And Ashley said it was super windy here too. It tried very hard to kill my tomatoes. My tomatoes were doing okay though. I have some Tasmanian chocolate ones, which are small. And they're only supposed to be 2 to 3 feet tall. But I think I may have to stake them. Like, we gathered them up. Everybody's gathered up that could move, because I heard something fall. But it was big, like a big tree fell on a friend's fence. I was kind of looking at the trees to see what trees could snap, that kind of. Oh, and Brandy's here with us this morning. Okay, so you guys, what I'm doing is I'm making my coffee. And I'm just sharing it with you. So I've got some Califia Farms Oat Barista blend. A really good no fat, no sugar option is the Joy. And let me just show you that. The oat milk powder. This is not inexpensive, but it is more convenient because it's just super, super fine powder. And this also froths really well. That is not, come on, latch on there. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. So that's an option for you. I made some syrup, and I'm going to use some rose water. So let me talk. You guys know I'm queen of the floral flavors. lavender, rose, orange flower, and my gardenia bush was blooming. And so I did some research in gardenias. Flower petals are edible, and I made a syrup with it. So this is gardenia syrup made with vegan sugar. So again, this is a treaty drink. You could totally make the same thing with some date paste or date syrup. So don't even worry about that. And Ashley says for her, she has some patio choice yellow tomatoes that she grows every year. So she's protective. I haven't seen those, but I want to. You may have to send me a picture. So I'm going to put probably 2 tablespoons of my gardenia syrup. And I'm super excited. Now, I did notice there's something called gardenia syrup, which is a tiki mix, which has nothing to do with gardenias at all. This is true gardenia syrup. So I probably took, and I'm going to write this recipe up, I took photos, about 4 to 6 cups of gardenia blossoms. I think it was 2 cups of hot water mixed with 2 cups of sugar. And then I just let them sit for 4 hours or so. I wanted to get as much as I could out. This is rose water, and this is often very strong for people. I like all the florals. Also, I was reading that things like lavender syrup, rose water, orange blossom water, they're actually really good for your nervous system. And today I woke up a little bit of a nervous wreck. I'm just a little bit like, you ever wake up like that? You might be going, then why are you having coffee? Because I got things to do. But we can pretend it's decaf, but I know it's not. So you might just want to put a couple of drops. I'm going to put squirts. But do drops if you've never tried it. Rose water doesn't have any sweeteners in it. It's really just distilled water and rose petals. And same thing for orange blossom water. So this is great if you are on a special diet. Now, let's let the magic happen. And if you haven't used one of these, it seems like this would do nothing. But it's mixing my syrups up together, and it was about to here, so let's do that so you can kind of see. It's going to get really frothy. It just introduces air in there. And instead of paying, I don't know, $6, $7 to have this at Starbucks, where they won't do the cold foam for plant-based, and it doesn't do it this well anyhow. See how big it gets almost to the top, so it almost doubles. Then I'll just rinse this. So it's super easy cleanup. And let me just show you kind of to here. So it went from here to here as far as all the air and goodness, which is kind of fun. I'm going to pour some of my cold brew concentrate, and again, you can buy, and see, I like mine super milky. So while I may be having caffeine, it's not the same caffeine that I would have at Starbucks either. So I'm just going to mix that coffee in there, and you can kind of see at the bottom, it's light. This is more flavored milk than it is. And it's just the way I like it. Yeah. There's just a hint of gardenia that, if you've ever smelled gardenias, like if you walk by a gardenia bush, you can't miss it. It's just like, it's like magic. And so I thought that would begin a drink, and it is. I have some ice to the side because a lot of this is fluff. And I'll keep adding ice as we go along. But see, this fluff is just as good as any fluff you'd pay a lot of money for. And Ashley says my mom is also a coffee flavored milk fan. Absolutely. Well, and I think the thing is too, is that's about the amount of caffeine that I can really tolerate too. I was drinking decaf for a while, and now I can have one caffeine early, like early before 1 o'clock. But we've gotten so picky that now Cheryl will go out and she's like, it's not as good, because we make it exactly the way we want. So I just thought I'd share that. That's the bonus recipe. You could do this with anything. You can do it with matcha. You can do it with, again, it doesn't have to be a barista blend. The Joy, J-O-I ones work really well. They have a creamer that's amazing. It does have salt in it, but none of the other Joys have salt in it. And Ashley says she can't handle caffeine either, but she drinks it anyhow and then gets surprised when she's anxious. I was doing that a little while, but there was a whole year I didn't know caffeine because there was just too much anxiety. So, okay, now to the real part of the show, now that I can have my beverage. There are a couple things that there are links to on the YouTube. One is the zip tops. And you know, we did a zip top giveaway not that long ago. And I really recommend these as far as long-term reusable, resealable bags. They can go in the dishwasher. You can heat stuff up with them. Why do I even have them out? Because I'm going to chop some onions. I know what's in this box. The other thing is we're doing an Elihome giveaway. So that's going to be of 3 of these spatulas. And you guys have seen me use these Elihome spatulas. And these probably could be cleaned better than they are, but I will show you overhead. It is not Elihome. Oh, that's not the Elihome one. This is the Elihome one. I have 500 spatulas. And in fact, this is my favorite Elihome spatula because it's a good scoop. So it's for that and this size cutting board. And so with the Elihome cutting boards, I've got some notes. Let's do it from this camera because I don't feel like that's showing you. And so this is part of the bigger set that I have. But let me make that stop for a second. Okay, sorry, you guys got to hear a noise from my computer. These are made in the USA. They are reversible. They tout their built-in hole to hold it, though that is really kind of cool. These are dishwasher safe, heat resistant, knife friendly. So basically it reduces the scoring. Well, that didn't stop that at all anyhow. Let me go in here and get off of this one thing that's making the noise. Okay, so. Oh, and Gina says, awesome, I've had cutting board envy since you've been using it. They're really nice. I like that they're heat resistant. And you can also put some mineral oil to enhance the color, but you guys know I'm too lazy to be doing all that. What I'm loving, and it's in all but the tiny one. The tiny one's basically like your bar one, right? But in both these sizes, they have this gutter. And those of you who have been watching me make the pineapple, cut up pineapple, tomatoes it's good for too. Anything that's juicy, this is great for, these gutters. And let me explain why. So there's 2 things. One is it doesn't get all over your counter, drip down, and get all over you. Not that I have that happen to me 80,000 bazillion times. So, but when I'm cutting up this pineapple, especially if I'm putting it in the Ninja Creamy, if I'm using fresh pineapple, I want that extra juice to go in as a sweetener, right? If I'm cutting up fresh heirloom tomatoes to put in the sauce, yeah, I want that juice. So then what we can do is just take it and it will just pour out down here. And that's the thing I like the most about this. This one, the big one, is pretty heavy. This is the one, this one I think is a really nice size. Oh, that's a good idea too. Gina says the gutters are great for watermelon, yeah. And watermelon also you can freeze and make a beautiful smoothie or sorbet with it. And to me, anything, or even just drinks, you know, you can actually make your own watermelon juice. So first we would cut it, we'd put the juice in our blender, whatever we got off of this, along with that, and then you can just strain it, and you get a beautiful watermelon juice that you can use in mocktails, cocktails, teas, or just drink as is. And hey, Marilyn, it's awesome to see you here. We have been missing you. Oh, okay, Brandy, tell us where you got the Ninja Creamy on sale, because I'm kind of disappointed. So a few weeks ago, you guys know that I talked about the Ninja Creamy being on sale for 70% off. I think it was before Mother's Day. And they've had a different coupon like twice a week, but it keeps getting lower and lower. I do know that Marilyn was saying, I think Marilyn, did you get yours at Bed Bath & Beyond? I saw some people said there was a sale last week for like a hot minute at Bed Bath & Beyond, and you can maybe use a 20% coupon. I've seen some people get them at Kohl's and use Kohl's cash that they had. And so anyhow, also check Costco and Sam's Club when you're getting it on Amazon. So like wherever you're looking and you see all the links for all the things, I tried to be real clear. I gave you the Ninja one, which has been giving some pretty good discounts. Today's I didn't think was good at all. It was 15%, which I think is pretty close to what you're getting on Amazon. But with for the Ninja site, you get 3 containers. Amazon has 2 listings, one for 2 containers, one for 1 container. Don't get the one for 1 unless it's significantly cheap enough to go ahead and get some extra containers. You want at least 2 to 3 containers, in my opinion. Oh, and Brandy got it at Best Buy in Canada. I haven't checked it on Amazon yet this morning, but I do have my links for Amazon. So check that out too. And you guys can always email me if you're looking for one. I'm trying to put things up when I see them. And I think at some point, what is it? It's in July is the Amazon days. No, I think they're calling it Target days. Target's doing it too. So there's a couple of different sales. So that's when Amazon does its like big yearly sales. So that could work out too. And Marilyn did get hers at Best Buy, Bed Bath & Beyond, too many B stores with a 20% coupon. Walmart has one that's 168, 2 containers, but only has 5 programs. If I'm trying to remember, I think it's the gelato it doesn't have. Pretty much we're going to use light ice cream, sorbet, and smoothie bowl the most. And maybe ice cream. So if you want to go ahead and get that other one. Now, there was some issues, I think, in the first one that came out. I've not had any issues with mine, and I've been pushing it so that I can test it a lot with what you guys can do with it. But back to watermelon juice. Ashley makes watermelon juice all the time and blend it with fresh mint and lime juice, a little agave, absolutely. And Gina says watermelon lime juice is wonderful, and I love it with mint too. I do a similar thing with cantaloupe, but I freeze the cantaloupe and make it into a smoothie. It's gelato and smoothie bowl that it's missing, I think. And smoothie bowl is nice. I mean, honestly, the light ice cream, I think, does what the smoothie bowl and sorbet do, or at least what they do is the blade runs faster around but goes down slower. So it's expecting a more icy component, and that's super important. Okay, so let's open up the CSA after I scratch my eye. I'm sorry, I should wash my hands. There's something I'm like allergic to that's going on out in the world right now. Like seriously. And I'm tired of it. I'm very, very tired of it. So we'll do this and then we'll cut some onions and we'll chat. We can chat about juice. We can chat about coffee. Really, whatever you want to chat about, we can chat about. Yes, and that's does it have a smoothie bowl? Cheryl is looking on the web. A smoothie bowl button. See if you can get a close-up on the buttons. These are my onions. I'm looking up there like magically turn to there. Remember, we get some things in different things. So we'll pull those out. This is what the main things come in, and I save that and use it as a garbage bag. And Cheryl's still checking that out. That is a nice head of lettuce.
Now, that ice cream sorbet, light ice cream and milkshake.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it doesn't have smoothie bowl or gelato. So, and I've got these cucumbers. So this, I think this is $27. I always forget. It includes a $7 delivery fee. And this is straight from the farm. So let's check this. There's always something that's close to as big as my head. I think this is close. Hello. It's so fresh and yummy. I can't wait to eat that. And Marilyn says Bed Bath & Beyond was $30 off, and then the 20% off coupon. These cucumbers are great. So I have been having cucumbers with hummus. I've been having, making like a gluten-free bagel and using Miyoko's faux lox cream cheese, and then putting, when I grab a tomato and some cucumbers from my little garden, and making like a little garden bagel. Another thing that I will probably do with one of these is that I'm going to spiralize it. Or if you don't have a spiralizer, you can use a peeler and just peel it all the way down to the seeds, and it'll make these beautiful strips. And if you go to healthyslowcooking.com, I have a sesame cucumber noodles, and that is one of my favorite go-to meals when it gets really, really hot. So those are awesome. Carrots, always a plus. I've been making sticks for hummus. I've been roasting some. You can juice some of them. You can also do that same thing with a peeler. I like to do that over salads to give it some different textures, so we could have that lettuce. The lettuce I will probably wash and put in a container as leaves. The cucumbers I'll leave as is until I'm ready, and the carrots I will leave as is until I'm ready to do something more exciting with them. And then what? Ooh, potatoes. These are some pretty potatoes. See if you can see them from this side better. Fresh from the dirt. These are going to be delicious. So I could make a potato salad with that. I could make a cold soup. I could just go ahead and cook all of them, and then some of them, after they're cooked, I could throw in the air fryer either as wedges or cubes. So many things. So, and I'm moving some of this because I know I'm going to, let me wipe the dirt off. That would be nice to do, wouldn't it? And I've been getting tons of basil and making baby basils with some of it. So I have a lot of lemon basil, regular basil, Thai basil. And so with any of that, that would be delicious. And now here are my onions. And I got some onions last time too. And what they were saying too, because they're fresh, they're better in the fridge or to go ahead and cut up. So I'm going to go ahead and cut some, and I figure that way you get to see the cutting board in action. And I just want to grab, let's see, do I have, oh, I think this will work. Okay. It's nice to have something here so this doesn't move around as much. And then also, let me just grab something to put the ends of the onion in. Happy Halloween, everybody. Oh, that's a great question. How do you make baby basil? Well, when you have a little basil plant, and I just put all mine outside. Do I have any? I do have some that are stow mint. Yes, here we go. So when you're taking some of this off, this is also like a little sucker from a tomato plant that I'm trying to root. So you want them to get bushier. So if you never pinch the top off, they just get tall and spindly. But when you pinch the top off, you can actually root these. So these are, I believe, all lemon basil. And so you want to have enough stem to go into the cup. Let me show you from the other side where you can see a little bit better, I think. Okay, so like this. Then you put it in here and it'll grow roots. I have not been successful in rooting much of this opal basil. So this is the first one that I haven't. And so this actually, if you can see, I pinched this off before. And then these are 2 little pieces of mint that I'm also rooting. So you just have to make sure that it has enough water, and it seems like some of them are just like magic and they root right up, and then some of them take a week, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks for some things that I've had to root. But as long as it's getting some sunlight and things like that. Yeah, and so basically I bought 2 lemon basil plants and now I have like 8. My friend Dawn moves into her house in like 2 weeks, so she's been staying in an Airbnb. So I have some little things where I've rooted a bunch of basil for her. I'm kind of hoping this tomato sucker. So there's like places on a tomato that they'll just be these non-productive arms, and then in this, kind of in the armpit, there'll be something that looks like it's going to make a bloom. If you pick that, you can sometimes make another tomato plant from it. Oh, that's great. And Diane says, oh, that's how they root. Oh, that's a great idea too. Let's go all the way back. Diane also says you can air fry with rosemary, and basil is always delicious. Yeah, so you can just chop up rosemary and put it in with the air fryer. With basil, I wouldn't do that, but I would make you could make like a nice dipping sauce for the potatoes. That could be delicious. And Marilyn's saying, put a damp towel down and it'll provide better traction, or a silicone baking mat. You're so good. I never even do this. I'm just trying to be proper. You know me, I'm always a little bit like on the edge, crazy. And Diane says, learn something new every day. Thank you for the tip, and thanks to Gina for asking them. And Gina says, ooh, I'm going to make basil plants. You can never have too much basil. Exactly. And so what I was doing with some of the ones that I was making babies with is that I had some container tomatoes that I bought at Lowe's. So I've been sticking little basils, sticking some thyme in there just to make extra herbs, because you can always dry that for the winter. And Marilyn, I know you do a lot of growing, if I remember. So if you know why sometimes basil or mint takes longer to root than others, I would love to know. Okay, back to the onions. Okay, so basically what I do with my onions, and we haven't had a chop and chat in a while, so this is kind of chop and chat-ish, is that especially since these have to be in the refrigerator, and I gotta tell you, gosh, that is too bright. The sun just keeps changing. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. I don't have any room in my fridge. It's like, it's bad. And before this fridge, you know, we had a counter depth fridge, which I think is the worst thing ever. And my friend Dawn loves it because she hates how it sticks out. But we hate it because we don't like things falling on our head. And it's kind of there now. I did finally get the rest of the blueberries frozen yesterday. And usually what I do is let's do overhead. I just mince these because Cheryl will pick them out if I don't. But if you lived in a normal household, you could get away with being less precise about your cutting. And sometimes it's not perfect, and that's okay. But it is really nice to have onions cut up. So when you're tired and it's hot and you want onions for something, then I just go and grab some out of the freezer. And so we're going to put some in a zip top bag. And if you want to win this cutting board, this cool Elihome cutting board, just put in the comments, I want an Elihome cutting board, or pick me, or really anything. Tell me what you like to cut up, or tell me some cool tip about cutting up vegetables. And it could be a cool tip about freezing, a cool tip about how something, maybe how you don't cry with onions, or how you keep your cutting board from slipping. And then next week during the Chop and Chat, or the CSA unboxing, I will pick a winner. And last time somebody won the zip top bags, which were pretty awesome. And this is a pretty great giveaway too. So I don't know if Anna's on now, but Anna's the one who's providing us with all these cool giveaways. So thanks, Anna, whenever you're watching this. I know she watches a lot of my lives, but when I do something kind of impromptu, she's not always there. Okay, and let me... okay, and Ashley says, basil's always a big baby once it's transplanted, but does good with some love. And I have had that too. I will say that transplanting them in the evening is a much better idea. It gives them some time and time away from the sun. My most successful has been actually to root them, then put them into some smaller containers, you know, like you buy a 4-pack, if you've saved anything like that, and then let them kind of grow up a little bit in there. The one danger is because the stems are so short, and then, the stems are so short that when you plant it, the leaves can be too close to where it's going to get wet. So I try to be real mindful of that too. But I do love all the free basil, even if it doesn't always work out. I'm trying to do that with some of the mint, and I'm also waiting for those 2 tomato plants in the containers to go ahead and finish. I think they're not going to produce anymore once this happens because they got too cold when it was like a freeze. And I'm going to put my smaller mint plants in there. I've got a strawberry mint and a pineapple mint that are okay. They're not doing great, and I would like to see them have more space. Another thing I may do is transfer 2 tomatoes that are in a larger raised bed kind of thing, or raised planter, into one of my other Lidl planters. Because the one that I need to do another video to show you what's going on with the garden. The Hungarian tomato that was like this big is like the biggest tomato now, even though it was not the biggest to start off with. So I think that area in that container may be the best for the tomatoes. So, and I have a couple of extra ones of those. And Linda loves that the Eli cutting board is dishwasher safe. Oh, I love this. Marilyn's great tip. When she has a lot of onions and the fridge and freezer are full, I cut them, blanch them, and dehydrate. And don't forget, then you can grind them into your own onion powder, right? And Ashley cleans her wooden boards with a mixture of lemon juice and coarse kosher salt to get rid of any smells and stains. That's awesome. I believe it is Canada as well, Ashley. So, and it's probably not Scotland, CJ. But I didn't ask, but we can see. We'll see what happens. Oh, Sue's here from Sun City, Arizona. That's awesome. Thank you for being here. We're so glad that you are here, and it's got to be sunny and super hot there. And Kimmy says she finds cutting up veggies a form of meditation, and I like that too. Sometimes I just find it irritating, which is why I'm doing this with you, because I can't just be like, meh, meh, meh. I just have to just buck up and get it done. And I'll be so glad. So like, there's nothing like me getting ready to teach one of my classes. And if you guys don't know, I do Kathy's Cooking Club, and you can look up about what classes we've done and are going to do, and you can buy them separately if you want at kathyhester.podia, podia.com, kathyhester.podia.com. We just did an ice cream class on Thursday, and we're going to be doing a wonton class because I thought that'd be fun. We can use our air fryer, but there'll be oven options. And next week, I'm going to be making a gluten-free wonton. It's super easy now to get vegan wontons, skins. It is not easy to get gluten-free ones. And so I'll be making that video ahead of time so people can make gluten-free wonton skins for the class if you're gluten-free like I am. I'll be making with both in the class because Cheryl can eat the others. And they're easy. So I know I have a whole list of things that I was going to make, but I was thinking, because we can make dumplings, we can make crab ragoons, obviously not with real crab, or real cream cheese, right? So everything's going to be vegan and plant-based. I don't think the wonton skins have any oil, but I need to check that for sure, but I'm almost positive that they don't. Aha, and Brandy says, have a good day, everyone. My daughter's wanting to make ice cream. Excellent. Ice cream is amazing. And Marilyn says, we had Roma tomatoes that came up in a compost pile. I've heard of this so many times. Hubby transplanted and they are outgrowing the start he planted. That's amazing. And Diane says she has dehydrated onions. She likes to make sure the dehydrators are placed outside, otherwise a strong onion smell throughout the home. And I would probably do that in a heartbeat. Like I do chilies inside too. You should not. Cheryl complains. Yeah, Marilyn, I was thinking about you with the gluten-free wontons actually, yeah, because Marilyn is gluten-free like I am. Now, I will test it. Usually they use cornstarch, and Marilyn, I know you're allergic to corn, so we will try it with maybe, I'll have to see what I have. I'm either out of tapioca starch or arrowroot. I think I'm out of tapioca starch, so we'll try it with one of those. So this is the zip top bags, and if you didn't see them before, can you see how thick that is? See if you can from over here. I have, and actually I think I have one of the fake ones. I think I found it and put it back in the Goodwill pile. I did. So let me show you the difference because I didn't understand until I got the real ones. So I think I had gotten this at that Amazon store. See, there's no zip top on it. It looks kind of the same, but look how thin this is and how it doesn't like to go in very well. And then it comes apart really easily. So it's already starting to come apart on an edge. This guy is super thick. And see how thick that is? And that's where this goes. So I know it's hard to tell without being able to touch it. And the zip tops are significantly more expensive. So I do get you on that. But I have to say, all the ones I got at that Amazon store over the past couple of years, they've already failed or torn or just not stayed closed long enough for me to actually use them. So I do recommend wholeheartedly the zip top bags. And we put them in the dishwasher, and I'm not treating them with any kind of special treatment because that's not the way we roll here. And so I'm going to cut up the other onion too in case some people, oh good, Marilyn has arrowroot and tapioca. And I could probably get some tapioca over the weekend. Marilyn doesn't mind the onion smell either. Oh, okay, and that's Mia. Imagines Peace is Mia of Basil Glory. And she took some zucchini, dehydrated it, and ground it into flour, which is pretty awesome. And Karen loves the zip tops. They often have 20% off, and I've been able to get mine during those sales. Yeah, and it's really, really great. Ah, no, that's true too. And the plus is you don't have to search for a lid. That's very, very true. So, totally get that. All right, so one more onion to go. So Mia, did you cook anything with your zucchini flour yet? I have some sweet potato flour that someone sent me a while ago. And I will say that some of those can have a stronger taste. With that said, that doesn't mean don't use them, but you might want to make sure you're using it with something else that has a strong flavor. So I probably wouldn't use it for a lightly scented rose scone or something like that. However, like a chocolate cake, it might even, I'd be interested to see if it would thicken, like a gravy thickener, because some of the ice cream bases I have planned, one of them is going to be zucchini, one of them is going to be beans. I've got a butternut squash experiment in there, sweet potato, I've done pumpkin, and so because when you're not using cream and fat to make that thick base, sometimes you need something else to make it thick. However, there can be too thick as well. So my first chickpea experience, I used a whole can of chickpeas just to kind of start out. And it was more like cold mousse, which sounds kind of good, but it was too thick. It was unpleasant. And then I'm in a bunch of Ninja Creamy Facebook groups. Someone else asked me, and I said, well, next I was going to start with 3/4 of a cup. She used 3/4 of a cup and didn't really find it helpful either. She thought it was still too thick. So I'm going to try next like maybe a 1/2 cup. And it's just something to think. Maybe I'll use 1/2 cup, but I'll use some of the aquafaba instead. Oh, I like that. Yeah, and Marilyn's so she hasn't made anything with the zucchini flour yet, but Marilyn wants to know what you're going to use it for. And Diane is thinking making bread, cookies, and her sweet tooth is getting carried away. My sweet tooth is always carried away. But I love that idea. And I think most of you guys have heard me talk about me freezing onions. So in case you haven't figured it out, all I do is cut up the onions to the size I want them, put them in a bag, and stick them in the freezer. Then once my pan is hot, or it doesn't even really have to be hot if you're not using oil, honestly, and then I throw what I want in there. And so I'll take a bag, knock it against the counter, shake out what I need, and saute it. And it's just that easy. And if for some reason I haven't done it in this particular bag yet, it's going to be thicker, so it could be a little harder to get out. I'll run some warm water around it and then hit it on the side of the counter. It'll still be just about as scientific, which is not very. And after this, I should feel less harried because at least I don't have to cut up onions or find space for them in the fridge. So I count that as a win. Another thing that I'm going to be doing, I'll have to see as far as all this goes, is I'm actually redoing my vegetable drawer with zip tops and some other containers that I found at TJ Maxx, and I want to show you guys that in case you have, and by that drawer, this drawer where I've been keeping all the veggies. And this is, I have some of the zip tops in there now. Right now, this is a little bit. These bins, I think, were $10, and they seem to hold almost a whole thing of kale broken down and stuff like that. So I'm trying to find ways to break down the CSA as much as possible to make cooking a little bit easier when I'm just not wanting to do anything. It was pretty hot this week, so we were in danger of that. But I'm also working on the Ninja Creamy ebook too, and I may be going beyond the max fill line. So don't do as I do. We talked about this, I think, last week or the week before, is about the max fill line sometimes being, let's see, it's not that bad. It's there. That's pretty bad now that I'm looking at it that way. But this one's totally going to close. Yeah. Yep. It's closed really, really well. So it's probably a little bit over full. So I might take some of this out that if I'm going to make something tonight or tomorrow and just leave them out because they're fine in the fridge. And Marilyn says she likes bean flour as a thickener. I mill any white bean. The great thing about bean flour is it doesn't lose its thickening power after being frozen like cornstarch does. I've never frozen cornstarch or bean flour. That's awesome. Okay, guys, well, if you came in late, I made myself a nice latte with some homemade gardenia syrup and rose water, and I frothed up my cold foam, which is like, it's funny because it's like air now at the top a lot. It's coming down. And this is, you can kind of see some of my syrup. And that was from my gardenia bush. What else did we talk about? We talked about the Elihome cutting boards and spatulas, and you want to say something in the comments. I'm going to announce a winner of this size cutting board and some spatulas. We looked into zip tops again. We've talked about how to propagate basil. We've talked about how we love our tomato plants, that bean flour can be used as a great thickener, and that Mia is a magician at making vegetables into flour. And I think that kind of covers it all for those of you who came late. Please make sure to comment on the YouTube channel, because that's where I'm going to pick the comments. If you don't know how to do that, you can email me at kathyhester@gmail.com with a enter me for Elihome, and I will come over and pop a comment in for you. But please only do that if you don't know how to use YouTube. Oh, and so Marilyn says, I mean when bean flour is used in a recipe and then frozen. Got you. See, I told you I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer today. Yeah, so we covered a lot of things. And I told you I was a little cranky, but I think I feel better now that I've spent some time with you guys. You always make me feel better. We unboxed the CSA, which had a lot of onions, 3 onions, 4 medium to large potatoes, 3 medium potatoes, 3 cucumbers, 6 carrots, and a head of lettuce that was like $27 straight from the farm, delivered to my doorstep for $27. I did not go to the farmer's market today, but I think we had plenty to see. I do have coming up, I've got 2 new appliances I'm going to be demoing sometime in the next couple of weeks. One is an ice maker, because you may have heard me talk about this ice maker. Like, this fridge has totally ticked us off about a lot. A lot of it is wonderful. We've replaced the ice maker twice, and we're still having issues with it. So luckily, New Air is giving me, hopefully eventually, 2 different ice makers to try their countertop. This one we're going to be doing next week, And I got a Nutter, N-U-T-R, which, yeah, I'll show you real quick and we'll make something with it. This is a small non-dairy making machine. So small meaning you can make 2 cups. It's like just to here. But you can do some other stuff in it too, and it's kind of cool. So we're going to look at that at some point as well. Yeah, and this is the spatula you want the most. This is one of my favorite spatulas now because of the shape. I love these guys too, don't get me wrong, but this one is my favorite. And I pick favorites when it comes to spatulas. Okay, guys, have an amazing weekend. Hopefully it's a little bit cooler where you live today. Try and get outside for a little bit, enjoy it, and try not to be like I woke up in your head worrying about all the things. So I'm just going to try and take a deep breath, do something fun. I encourage you to do the same, and in fact, you can give me suggestions on things I could do to relax and enjoy myself this weekend, and I'll see if I can't take you up on them. Okay, I will see you guys on Monday. Julie and I are going to do a Kitchen Toys Summer Edition where we're going to make snow cones. So I'm going to show you how to make a syrup or 2. And Julie has a cool shaved ice machine, and so it's going to be super fun. That's going to be at 3 p.m. and I'm going to be scheduling that probably today or tomorrow. Oh, yeah, and Marilyn says she's interested in a countertop ice maker that she can use her Berkeley water to fill. So my friend Dawn has one of those too. We have well water that goes through a whole bunch of stuff and a UV light and then reverse osmosis. But the second one I'm supposed to get is going to be that nugget ice, and I'm super excited about that. But they didn't have one of those to send me. But I was doing some reading already on the new air, and you do put your own water in it, so I think that would be perfect. Okay, guys, have an amazing weekend. I think it is officially summer, perhaps today or tomorrow, so happy summer, and I'll see you guys on Monday.